Hell yeah. Sun is up, the drinks are hot, and now it's time for our first cup. Today, do what you can do. So last Thursday was my late dad's birthday. When I was out on my morning routine, decided to take a little bit of extra time to think about him, talk to him, tell him what's been going on in the last year, tell him about a lot of the changes that have happened, a lot of the good stuff, and also some of the more frustrating things, like his wife, my mother, having ample reason to try to improve her situation, and many people who are willing to help her. But she still doesn't want to budge. It's really one of those, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink sort of situations, with the addenda that you can also drown the horse in the water if you push too hard, or you can drown yourself trying to get the horse to drink the water. You get the metaphor. Um, so, you know, thinking about that and a lot more, talking about a whole lot, kind of come back into myself in the moment and realize that I've walked a lot further down the beach than I normally do. So start making my way off the beach, up the stairwell, back into the neighborhoods to make my way back home. And just as I'm about to hit play on my phone to cue up a song, I hear a whistle in my direction. What? I look around and I find this wily and wiry older woman, like in her early 70s, uh, who I know is Sue. I see Sue in the neighborhood in the mornings. I see her at the donut and coffee shop that I go to, and she's got this kind of sassy swagger to her a little bit. She's environmental engineer, you know, cool lady. And she whistles at me, and I don't know why I do this. I kind of watch myself do it from inside my head. I pull out my headphones and I say, "Well, you want a little bit of my attention? You got it all now." Point at her, and I kind of laugh and smile, and she kind of does the same. And I start walking towards her, and as I get up closer to her, I see her kind of like wince, bend over, kind of double over a little bit. I'm like, "Sue, are you okay?" She catches herself and says, "It's Sarah." Right. And no, I'm not okay. I've been battling stage 4 cancer for 4 years. Ask her if she needs to sit down. She kind of nods and takes a seat on the outcropping of the gate that she's near. I ask her if I can have a seat too. She says, "Sure." So we get to talking. I tell her about my dad. He died from cancer, things that happened with him when he was in his dying process. And she tells me a lot of the same. Actually, she tells me about this Vietnamese monk that she found online. He's got a podcast that does a lot of meditation. I guess he's a Zen master. Um, she's been listening to him for the last couple of years, and she really thinks he's changed her life. She's been able to let go of a lot of old hurts, and she's been able to forgive a lot of people that did some truly heinous things to her. She's been able to be a lot more present, a lot more mindful with everything that she's doing, including the dishes. I also find out that she's still working and that she's about to have surgery in a little while to get a big tumor removed from one of her organs. I say, "Oh, cool. Uh, well, one, it's great that you're going into surgery. Uh, where's your meal train? You got one of those set up? Because if so, I'd like to contribute." And she looks at me again with a different kind of pain, and she says, "Don't make me cry." And but oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't, that wasn't my intent at all. Please. She stops me. I know it's not your fault. It's my emotions. It's my feelings. You were just being kind. This is on me. It's just I don't have anyone to do that for me. I say, well, let me be the first. Do you like tomato sauce? I make it from scratch. I use San Marzanos. They're great. This kind of brings her back. We talk a little bit more. She introduces me to her neighbor who's got a King Charles Spaniel. We trade numbers, and by the time we both go about the rest of our day, we're smiling, at least. And yeah. Now, almost as soon as I got home that morning, I knew that I had to turn it into an episode of First Cup. It just felt right. But this morning, when I was thinking about how to say and what to say, I kept on running into this wall. Like I'd get to the end, I'd think about the end, and it's like, what do I do? And I tried like 6 or 7 different directions, and none of them hit. What do I do? What do I do? And then I realized why nothing was working. Because this situation's not over. Right? This is something that happened just a few days ago. It's something that is actively happening for me, let alone for her, right? And no matter what I saw or I'm seeing, no matter what I felt or I'm feeling, the meaning in everything is still congealing. It's still coming together, right? Like, and just the elements of everything. It was on my dad's birthday. Uh, it was I ran into somebody that has stage 4 cancer. Cancer, took my father's life. If I hadn't been talking to my dad and thinking about the fact that my mom is this kind of in this like recalcitrant place, I probably wouldn't have gone as far down the beach as I did, and I would have taken my normal route home instead of this route, which took me past Sarah. The story is still coming together. The meaning is still congealing. And even if I just chalk it all up to coincidence, there's still a lot there, right? Still in the middle of it. There is no ending yet. But even so, there is something that I think is important to point out about this moment. And that is, even without the story set in stone, even without the resolution put together, it occurs to me that there are very limited time frames in which to act, and it is important to stay focused on those, even if there is no ending written yet, as it were. Right? Time for action is usually a very limited time frame. Right? When I saw Sarah, I had a choice to either stay there and talk or not, right? I could have told myself anything. I could have said it's time to move on. I could have said I needed to get to work. There's a million things I could have said, but I chose in that moment to stay there and to talk, right? And whenever her surgery comes through, I will make the choice to make some pasta sauce, some tomato sauce. You can use it on more than pasta. And I don't know if by the time that her surgery comes that I will have figured everything out. Probably not. But I know that I will still have a limited time frame in which to make the choice to do that thing, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I can do. And it's not just situations like Sarah where this stuff happens, right? This happens with people, it happens with politics, it happens with our communities, it happens in our relationships. There's so much complexity, so much meaning making can happen or that needs to happen. And yet, even with all of that, our time frame to act is often constrained, and we can't let all of the complexity, which does deserve to be considered and worked through, right? Let's be clear about that. We cannot let that complexity get in the way of acting, right? And as I choose to do what I can do, I hope that you choose to do what you can do. Now, I'm only one man, and I will do what I can within my bandwidth. But if you would like to contribute some time or some food or some money to Sarah's meal train, I will put a link below. And if for some reason uh, the donations that are collected are more than enough, or they, God forbid, don't have to be used, I promise that I will find a similar cause to use them for. But regardless of all of that, please, please remember that no matter what you've heard or what I've said, death comes for us all, and a closed mouth never gets fed. Be well. We'll talk again soon.